I wanted to ask you about a story that's been of interest to a lot of our viewers, these migrant flights to the Jacksonville area. Your spokesperson told us your office is aware of 78 such flights in recent months. She says state law enforcement has briefed the office about this. Which law enforcement agency is that? And can you provide specifics about these flights, when they landed, who was on board, how many?
So here's what happens with these flights. There's no notification to the state of Florida. These are done mostly in the middle of the night, and it's clandestine, and we really have no say into it. So what we're going to do, so I don't know on the top of my head everything, but we can provide. I know when we initially got wind of this, it wasn't through normal channels. It's people in the federal government who are effectively leaking this to us so that we have a heads up on it. I've talked with Mayor Curry. I've talked with my folks. We need to talk to the airport people. We're going to get together and figure out what we can do in the immediate term to protect folks in Florida. And then obviously, as the legislature comes back, I think about it, you have an open border in violation of U.S. law. The president has said that basically they want to even pay reparations to people who came illegally. Just think about that. You as an American, you get higher gas prices. You get higher grocery bills. You get told basically to just grin and bear it. Someone breaks the law, comes illegally, and they're going to cut them a check for hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is just unbelievable. But that's what we're dealing with. So they're not enforcing the law. I had people there to help Texas, Governor Abbott. We had some of our state law enforcement there in June and July, and they did a great job. But what would happen is people would come illegally, our folks would apprehend, you turn them over to the feds, and then the feds put them on a bus and send them around, or put them on flights and send them all over the country. How is that something that's effective? So we have to look at that and say, we are suing the Biden administration over that. We have a pending lawsuit. I think we can be successful on it, but that's not going to happen overnight. Then we have to look at, okay, if these contractors are being contracted by the federal government and they're imposing problems on us. We had somebody that was murdered by somebody that was brought in by Biden. We should be able to have consequences for those contractors. And your ability to do business in Florida, I think, should absolutely be curtailed based on whether or not you're bringing problems or not bringing problems. And the fact of the matter is, this border should be secured. We know what to do because it was working prior to Biden taking office. So they should do that. But we are going to work with the folks here in Jacksonville. And the problem is, the federal government has basically the runway when it comes to air traffic in this country. So I don't control the airspace. City of Jacksonville doesn't control the airspace. The feds control the airspace. So they can shut us out. Now this lawsuit, maybe we'll get some relief from the lawsuit. But short of that, we need to get together and figure out ways to be able to do it. We knew, one of the things that was concerning to me, and look, you can't prove any of this stuff, but they were bringing flights in May and June, we found out here. And why was that? And then Jacksonville, you saw what they had to deal with some of the COVID stuff. So there's all these things. It's just like, why? Why not just kind of let folks alone? So there's absolutely going to we're going to have action across a wide variety of fronts.
If I may follow up again, which law enforcement agencies are providing this information, and do you have any details about the number of flights, when, the number of people?
So in terms of like each individual flight, I can tell you, I know that they started in May, and I know that they've continued. Whether they have the ledger of everything, you'd have to talk to my office about that. But our state law enforcement agencies are engaged in this. And again, this is not something that we're given ahead of time. This is something that we find out after the fact. And I talked with the folks at the Jacksonville Aviation Authority. Feds come in, they do it, they got a bus. My view would be, why don't we, if they're going to come here, we'll provide buses and provide them. I will send them to Delaware and do that. If he's not going to support the border being secured, then he should be able to have everyone there. So we will do whatever we can in that regard, and we are absolutely going to do everything we can.
Can you name some of those private contractors you're talking about, Governor?
Well, I could, but I'm not going to do it right now. I think that we want to maybe have discussions with some of them because you have charter air, and then you also have buses, and I think we want to have some discussions. I'd like to get to a place where where we're in a better spot than we are now. I mean, just think about it. If they're not going to do anything to change this, maybe we'll win in court, maybe we'll have something that pushes back. But even then, you saw what happened with the OSHA decision. It was stayed by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, meaning not in effect. And what did the Biden administration say to businesses? Ignore the court and follow our rule anyways. And so I think that they basically said, to hell with these court decisions. They're going to do whatever they feel like doing. And so that's something that's problematic because we can even win in court and they may disregard that. So we're going to do all we can. But there are